everybody. Welcome to episode 2, season 2 of Kunyos and Gane, the show.
The Kunyos and Gane show. Yeah.
Kunyos and Gane?
Yeah.
Yes.
And we've got a guest.
Yes, we do. Yay! This is our first guest that's on camera. We had another guest that was off camera.
Over there, yeah.
Nobody could really see them. They were just a voice in the distance.
Yeah.
But
are you going to introduce who she is?
Yes. This is Heather Nickel.
From Your Nicholsworth Publishing.
We love her.
Who is our publisher.
And proud to be so.
Yeah.
Thank you. She's really stuck in the middle of us. It's going to be a tennis match.
Maybe.
We'll
Might be a little
goes.
bit.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Just relax. It's easy. So, what is this show about, first of all, Ange?
It's about us, writers. It's about writing and storytelling, with things we love, what's up and coming with Kunyos and Gane and Shepherd and Wolf.
And we answer a lot of questions about writing. And today I'm going to ask a lot of questions about publishing and hybrid publishing as well.
Yeah.
So,
makes sense.
Awesome. Do you want to just keep rolling along?
Well, usually at this point we talk a little bit about what we love.
Okay, there we go.
And so I brought a treat on our last show, and this is your treat. God bless you, David Gane.
Booze.
Booze.
After this week, why not, right?
Exactly.
This is Cypress Hills Vineyard, and it is a rhubarb blend. Oh my lord, I can't read. White wine. It's made out of rhubarb.
We're going to try it out and see what happens.
From Cypress Hills.
Okay, so we don't have a Heather Nickel mug.
Oh, I'll have to invest in one of those.
Oh, I get it.
It's like the camping
That's like
mugs.
the worst shot I just did on that camera. I'm so sorry to our viewers.
So
to my sister.
If
She's the only viewer. And you, which you won't even watch the show now. So.
And you know what? We're all about total honesty. So if you drink that and think it's horrible,
yeah,
then I get to say.
Yeah, because really no one sponsors.
Actually, it does not.
Yeah.
No one sponsors this show.
This is us.
It actually smells quite lovely.
We're hoping somebody sponsors
we'll
us.
We'll pick
soon.
it up. That would be good. That would be excellent.
We just want a little bit of like free alcohol and food, right? That's some coffee.
And money. And book sales. And lots of things. But this is a good start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good start.
Okay, so...
Teacher juice. Wait, let's do cheers.
Yeah,
cheers to our first guest.
Cheers.
Clang.
I never hold it in like the proper way. I'm always like...
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming.
For now.
You came and you're in the room that's so small that it's really just
nice.
filled up.
It's surprisingly good. You always wonder if wine's going to be rhubarb wine. You're like,
It's quite gentle.
It's alcohol.
Yay!
It is that.
So one thing you never did talk about is what... Oh, no, I guess we're in the right... Oh, man, this is off the rails already. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I really like that once per show somebody says that it's gone off the rails.
I noticed we say that a lot.
Because we do it a lot.
Yeah, and we, like, this is why we need somebody in the background just saying, no, you gotta say this and everything like that.
Well, you guys are sort of like Albuquerque left turn. It's a Bugs Bunny kind of a thing.
Yeah.
There's always a left turn.
There's a lot of left turns. Okay, so what are we up to? We have our book release.
Yeah, the book launch for Wolf and Shepherd's closing. Oh dear, clothing.
How much have you had already?
No, I'm done. Screw it. No more for me. I'm finished.
Heather, do you want to bloop it up on the screen for us? Do you know how to bloop it up?
Do this.
Let's bloop it up on the screen.
There we go. Awesome. Because I don't have it. My daughter's reading it. She's not all the way to the end. No, she's not even through part 2. So she started fresh again because she read part 1 and then took time off, and then she was like, I gotta start fresh again. So she's been reading it, but we have had some, and I always hate trying to explain this stuff, but we had our first reader giving us comments, and it was
awesome.
It was fantastic.
They were terribly excited. Dave screenshotted some of their comments to me, and they were, what is going on? Which is exactly the reaction that you want to have.
Yeah, they were mad at us and happy with us. We got a lot of like, I hate you, I love you comments.
And how could you blankety blank?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
There was a lot of...
There was a great big how could you. There was many exclamation marks.
Yes.
And some of those other little symbols that show swearing.
Even.
Did she?
Yes.
Okay, Gwen, did you swear? I'll have to double check.
It's all good.
Yeah.
That's the result we want. It would be, you know what, we don't want this.
Yeah.
Right? That's not what we
it
want.
It was a good roller coaster of a ride.
Yes.
So.
Well, you always want people to care about your characters.
They do. I do, and she did. That's more what it was. I'm just going to drink. You guys continue on the show. I'm just going to sit here
amongst yourselves.
Our book launch is on Saturday at Multinational 33 and the 3rd from 3 to 6. And
there will be donuts. Get there early.
And they're purple. They actually match our book.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right?
They're chocolate with purple. Yeah,
I know.
remember. So I'm already talking.
They're purple, so that's super great. And they match our book, which is also purple. I mean, that book cover, right? That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
We already did a 45-minute show. We can't do another 45-minute show.
That.
And we're really sorry again.
No, we just make sure to send the Pantone colors to the for the icing. That's what we'll do.
Yes, so that there's a
for
perfect
the icing?
match.
Oh, yeah. I never thought of that. It's going to be a totally different purple. Oh, boy.
So that's what we're up to. We're also pretty much done outlining the 4th book.
Yeah, we know what's going. We just need to do like that final read-through of, do we have the plan in place?
Yes.
That amazes me, you guys, that you've already got that outline completed.
Really?
Yeah.
And based on our cover struggles with the 3rd book with Wolf in Shepherd's Clothing, Dave sent me a screenshot of a potential cover.
I saw.
Right?
Super cool.
So we're not wasting any time this time.
Super cool.
Yeah.
It's going to be great, you guys.
Early on the last one too, but then we never used any of the ones that I offered.
That's true.
So I'm not even sold on the one that I sent you, but
well, we're thinking
it's at least the solid concept, and then
that's true,
and then it can be refined.
Yes,
it can always be refined.
I'm really excited that book 4's outline is almost in place because it wasn't as in place on book 3. I don't think. So this one feels a bit more solid.
I agree.
Yeah. And I'm excited because I always get excited when we get to say certain things in the books. And like book 4 is, as I said to our favorite reader right this week, I said, I promised her answers are coming. And she was like, tomorrow? And I'm like, no, but there are some really big answers coming up in this book.
Oh, yes.
I'm happy because I'm tired of holding all the secrets. Like, you don't even know the secrets.
No, I don't. So. I just am so pleased to work with authors who know where they're driving to. even though sometimes it goes off the rails.
Off the rails. Now you've used it.
Exactly. It comes back on the rails.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
No,
awesome.
You know where you're going and you're taking the story there.
Awesome. Anything else?
That's what's happening now. One more little plug. Chapters, April 28th for book signing. I'd like to just let you guys know that now. But we'll keep you posted on that because there'll be another show in between.
We have a couple others in Saskatoon. We have one in Nipawin, but Chapters is our
most
big
recent
one.
Right after.
And that is 12 to 4 on the 28th.
Yes.
The day of the Sask Book Awards.
Yes. So everybody should be in a book buying mood. So
you should come down, celebrate with us, and then go off to the Book Awards.
And celebrate with them.
Yeah. That sounds like a great time.
It's a good celebration.
It is.
And I'm just going to give like a totally side plug here. I saw that they have a sale on tickets.
They do.
Today.
They do.
So no one's going to see this when it comes out.
Maybe.
Darn it.
Only today?
Is it only today?
That is a good question. I don't know.
We had read that email better.
I don't know the answer to that.
Details.
Sorry about that, Courtney.
We will have to look it up, but we should...
But I'll bloop something on the screen if whatever it is. Well, it's kind of like over... No, it is down there, isn't it? Yeah. So awesome. There we go. Okay, so usually we do the Magic Satchel. Mm-hmm. But I thought we should talk a bit about... Because we've never really talked about how we work with you and partner with you to do the books. So, and this has been kind of an interesting week. And I don't want to get too far into that side of stuff. But if you check the news, you'll find stuff. And if you look Heather up, you'll find stuff. She was in the Regina Leader Post on the day we were recording this. So the traditional trade publishing model is you write your manuscript, you find yourself an agent, the agent takes it to an editor, the editor pitches it to a publishing house, and hopefully your book gets made, and then it's a long process. It's about 2 years?
If it's accepted, yeah.
Holy cow, are you kidding?
It's traditional publishers, because of the way that the marketing of books works, traditional publishers have to work 18 months to 2 years out in order to hit the timing right for the marketing process for bookstores. They need to know they're buying books far in advance.
Yes,
is what happens.
And they're also pitching to bookstores the books,
right,
as
and
well,
not just and not just sales reps to bookstores, but also to and again agents for foreign rights sales and subsidiary sales and that sort of thing. So they have advanced reader copies that get sent out for review and
that's where you get a lot of the blurbs on books.
That's exactly
as well.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All that sort of stuff happens in advance, and so you have to back the schedule up in order to make sure that there's enough lead time before the book hits the store that you can incorporate all those things. Whereas with YNWP's process,
before you jump there,
I won't jump there.
Let's do the next one first,
sure.
Which is so the two extremes. There's
the traditional publishing model.
Which is what you just described.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there is the self-publishing model, which we actually went down that path at the start. And that one has been around for a long time.
Oh, from the beginning.
Yeah, because like Charles Dickens and... Oh, there we go.
There we go. This is our
right
self-published... Sorry, Heather. Sorry, I apologize.
So it was... and that's an old... Not the proper proof. That's
right.
Like a...
But it gives... That was our indie version, self-published.
Yeah. And it has been around for a long time. It's like we were saying, Dickens and E.E. Cummings and Virginia Woolf, all have have done this. I saw Stephen King. One of his first books was he did a self-published thing.
That I didn't know.
Margaret Atwood did a bit of poetry that was self-published. So
you have been doing lots of research.
I have been, yeah. So there's it's not something new. Back in the day, it was really expensive. Like I know John Grisham was selling his books out of the trunk of his car, as well as I can't think of the guy who did Celestine Prophecy, James Redfield, something like that. Anyways, and he sold like 100,000 copies, which astounds me. On his own, out of the trunk of his car. So it's been around, everything like that, but it's always been expensive. And then I always thought it was that once technology caught up, that's when the explosion happened. But you said it was also because there was such a narrow margins and challenge to get into
the traditional to have a book published by a traditional publisher is extremely challenging. They have lots of editors in house will have slush piles on their desk that are stacks and stacks deep that they can't get to, and that it's tough to fund, and so they will only there's only a certain number of books that get published in a year. And they always want the sort of the latest and greatest, and they don't always get to the bottom of the slush pile on their desk, and so sometimes books that could be awesome, stellar books will sort of stagnate and be in limbo without being recognized. You could have the greatest book ever, and it's sitting on somebody's desk, and they just haven't had the opportunity to get to read it because they don't have the finances to publish every great thing that comes across the table.
Yeah. And I kind of want to make a point here is that when we went down the self-publishing route, it wasn't because we didn't try that route. We never even tried that route. It was more just like it was an experiment to see what would happen if we could just do it and write it and see if we could get it out there.
I think too for us it was also that idea of that there was less between us and the reader.
Yes.
It was just us and the reader, right? Here we are, here's our book, read it, right? So there was just this little tiny gap. Whereas in the traditional publishing model, there's a lot of bridges and roads and gaps and spaces and other people.
And I should say I'm never actually bothered by that or scared off by that. It's just
I think there was
a connection idea, right?
Yeah. That you are straight up with your reader, right? You're like direct directly taking your product, I call it a product, I'm sorry.
No, it's
our
fine.
book,
It's fine.
Yeah, to them directly. And I think that was part of what we wanted as well, because we had just, and this might be a lot of information, but we had just, TMI, just come out of that film experience, right? Where there's like producers and there's all these other...
And we were kind of left hanging where, you know, we weren't even getting...
back.
Okay. Yeah, we wouldn't get emails back and stuff
and
like that.
Maybe we could do this on our own. And I think that was part of our, let's self-publish.
Step outside the machine and see if we can just connect with the people.
Yeah.
Right?
Hoping for a little bit, something that more approximated a two-way conversation with the readership.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
I think that was another part of why we walked that path, I think. Right?
Yeah, for sure. But the one thing that it is very not in the owner's manual of self-publishing is it's a lot of work. I did a business development course, and we were talking about, you know, how do we turn our business into a thriving business. And I remember sitting there at the back and realizing, oh, you know what? I don't like doing the publishing part of it. I like doing the writing, and I was also exhausted for the marketing and selling and everything of the books. And that's when we started looking for you. We didn't know you were what we were looking for. So.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that you learn very quickly in the when you begin to self-publish or work with a hybrid publisher is that the creative process of having written the book and completing a manuscript and all the drafts and discussions and substantive edits that you do on your own. By the time you've got all that complete, you're about halfway through the process.
Yes. And it's a marathon.
Yeah.
Like you just keep having to go. Lots of saliva in my
You need one minding.
I do.
Alrighty then. Just
so
happy.
Now that we're here, we're at this like I'm gonna approach it from my side and then I'm gonna hand it over to you, okay?
Sure.
So for us, when we realized that we didn't want to do the trying to do the edits, build the book,
interior design, exterior design.
Yeah, interior design, exterior design, getting it to the stores, all that sort of stuff. We needed a partner, which was you, which is to me the best description of hybrid publishing in my mind, which is you're our kind of partner in getting this book built into the market, right? So
absolutely, that's another. If you look up hybrid publishing, you'll find that another name for it is partnership publishing, and that's
I'm going to steal partnership.
Yeah,
but I'm going to use that from now on.
Absolutely, because that's exactly what it is, where the publisher and the author work together to bring a book to press and to readers' hands.
Yes, you do. Yes,
we
do.
And the one thing I will say, and this is of course me complimenting you, is that we did look around, and there was a lot of like pseudo hybrid publishers out there. They offered and promised a lot of stuff, but it was very salesman-y, schmarmy kind of attitude.
Oh, like package deals and
and
you buy this many books,
put this money down and you get into there. Where you brought exactly what we wanted out of a partnership. It was kind of like, first of all, as Ange said,
I'm going to just say what I liked about you right off the bat. This is like a little stroke the ego. And so we had interviewed some people, right? And we had these kind of online chats.
And none of the people from local. They were all international. Nationally and internationally, yeah.
And it was like, yeah, okay, thanks for giving us the information, right? But it was very sales pitchy, which I was like, eh. And my thing too is, okay, so that guy quits his job at big publishing firm or at hybrid publishing place. He quits, and who gives a crap about us then, right?
Right.
So that was kind of where I was left. And then when Dave discovered you, I think you suggested Heather first.
Yeah.
And then we met with you, and then you left. And then we had a little conversation.
Of course.
Dave and I did. Yes, we did.
We had a great coffee. It actually was It was a great conversation.
Yeah, and
we had
like
fun talking together.
Right, and it was a good first meeting, and I was like, oh my God, Dave, she brought examples of her books, and she lives down the street, and she's a woman. All of the things which I was like, these are the things that sold me, that you're like, here's what I do, and here's what it actually looks like. Tangibly, physically, in your hand, you know what you're going to get. Which I was like, yay, I'm a little hands-on learner. Thank you for knowing this without even knowing me. Secondly, the whole lives down the street part where you're accountable. We're in the same community, right? So there's kind of
They know where I live.
We do.
I show up there, ask her a lot of questions.
And then the third part, just as like a little feminist human over here, that I kind of like that sisterhood. No offense, Dave, you're awesome. But
it's fine.
That was for me. That was one of my things. I was like, yeah, I want a woman. And I've done a lot of those inspiring leadership things that the university puts on where they have like women come in and talk about how to lead as a woman. And I was like, yeah, that was actually a pitch for me, was when I met you. And I was like, yep, all those things. So that was what sold me first. Like those three kind of initial check. Yep, those things are marked on the box and we're good to go. So...
Thank you.
You're welcome. But
make me cry over here.
Don't do that. You haven't had enough liquor to do the I love you, man.
No, I haven't, but we'll get there, I guess.
You haven't even touched your glass, and I'm like on my 5th.
So for me, that was kind of like, I knew that we both agreed we wanted someone to like partner with us to help us publish our work. So that I knew. But then it was kind of like that, just like the cover of Wolf and Shepherd's Clothing, we knew as soon as we got the right thing.
Right.
We struggled and struggled, and then the right cover came along, and we all went, ooh.
That's the right thing.
Right?
Yeah.
And then same with the publishing partnership. It was like, we talked to some people, we did some research, and we're like, yeah. And then we met you, and I was like, yes, we want to work with this person.
But it was still, we had to find, I'm going to point this out, because it took us a while to find the relationship balance.
Oh, the working pattern. Oh, for sure.
The working pattern.
Oh, for sure.
I remember the first time you sent your edits and we're like, oh.
Yeah, crazy lady. Lady.
Nope, let's go have a talk with her. And then everything you said, you were like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. So.
But I think it was, again, like relationship, because we had that meeting, because we got your edits, we're like, what the hell?
Yeah, oh yeah, there's a lot of, when you see all that red, you go, why? Why so much red?
Right. And so then we sat down in your office and then we reviewed things, and then we were actually able to explain a few things that we were like, yeah, that makes sense. We'll leave it the way it is. You know, or even as writers, we're like, we like this. No, we're going to argue this. Right. And just to even have that reflection. So it is like a relationship where you're like finding that ebb and flow.
Absolutely. The editorial relationship is, some of it is, no, there has to be a semicolon here, and some of it is
no, you have to punctuate there.
Yeah, exactly. And some of it is, it sounds like you're trying to head in this direction. It's unclear, or at least I think it's unclear. Yeah. I think you're trying to say this, but in creating a suggestion, you know, there might be an inadvertent change in your intention. And so then you have to, as writers, you have to come back and go, no, that's not what we were trying to say. What we wanted to say was this. Didn't we say that?
Right.
And then you have that, and then you have that conversation, and you end up somewhere not with the original and not with the suggested edit, but somewhere in between, or somewhere, or something that is sharper and stronger, that gets to the intention to begin with.
And has more clarity. And I have to say too, there have been times where I've read a comment of yours and you're like, well, you called this person so-and-so here, but in chapter 4 you called them this. Oh, she's really good. Because we're writing the book, we don't even remember the error we've made, and then you come in that sweep, not even a sweep, it's like a serious archaeological little brush through everything.
Continuity is a big thing,
and you're really good at that too.
Particularly in mystery novels, where it has where all the clues and all the red herrings have to make some sort of sense if a reader were to backtrack, and I suspect you have readers that backtrack and would call you out on things.
That's what we want,
right?
Although there was the one thing that we missed for a while.
Oh yeah, until the very last.
We won't talk about that one. Whoops.
No, yeah, whoops.
But I do. Yeah, I think it's important. I don't know. I think there's a lot of people don't understand about that relationship and that working partnership, that I thought that would be a good thing to kind of bring out and talk about. Is there anything else that kind of comes to mind for
the hybrid experience?
The hybrid experience, yeah.
Well, I like the personal aspect. Like, I really do. I don't like getting lost. I don't like feeling like a number. And I think that's part of who I am as the Cuños part of Cuños and Gane, and that's the very reason I chose. Well, we chose it together, but I agreed, and I was like, yes, this is it. That we want to stay connected to the reader. That relationship aspect of all of it is important, right? And I think that self-publishing is difficult and almost impossible if you're not a publisher or an editor. Like, if you haven't had that experience and you come in as the author.
It's a certain skill set that you have to develop. There's a learning curve if you're trying to do it all on your own, and it's not that it's impossible. It's just you have to be willing to do it.
Living,
yeah.
So,
yeah,
And exactly. I think too, and I always like drawing parallels to visual art because that's my first art education, and I can create the art, but I know that there is a team after that curate the exhibit and hang the art and write, the artist's, statement and the information about it. And there's like a whole entire group of people that make it be that thing. Right. That people get to see once it's done. And it doesn't magically happen on its own. We're not floating alone on, some planet out, on some asteroid somewhere up there by ourselves doing our thing. It is very team-based. And so with hybrid publishing, I feel like it feels like a family,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
It does.
Yeah. By the time I get to, and that's also part of the rationale for why I choose to work on the books that I do, why I choose to publish some books and not others, is because by the time the book is ready to go to press, I care about it just as much as the authors do. Maybe in a different way.
The moment that I realized that you were fighting for the reader to get the experience that we wanted, then I was like, I'm on board.
Yeah.
I really appreciated that. So
yeah, no, there's a balance that way too, where I don't just take everything that comes over the transom, as it were.
And I think that's another thing. And another thing. It's kind of like winter this year. I'm just going to keep coming back. That I remember we had talked about like getting our book to you, and you're like, okay, when do you want it out? Because I'm working on another project.
Yes.
And so then to me, in that moment when you had said that, I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, everything's important to her. It's not like slap that work on my desk and I'll get to it when I get to it. There was like an order to what you were doing as well, which gave me comfort. Right?
Well, you have to be able to meet your deadlines.
Yeah.
You have to be able to meet your deadlines.
And right?
Yeah.
So, and I was like, and that, actually, I remember that moment too. Yeah. I was like, oh, I like that too.
Yeah.
So,
I never like to commit to something that I can't follow, that I don't think I can follow through.
And then with a big publishing house, so it's like, let's say you were Magical, you're our editor, and you're working on a whole bunch of stuff, and you're like, crap, I can't get this done. And you shove it over to somebody else in the company who can do your job as well, but doesn't have that attachment to it or that interest for it, right? They're just doing their job. So there's this
I'm not
disconnect.
trying to be devil's advocate,
do that.
But do you think that actually happens?
Yeah, totally. Sure, why not? They got
Really?
stuff to do. Pass it on, man. It's not going to get done. It happens in law firms. Can you read this file? I got to take care of this. Oh, sure. And then,
okay.
right?
I know there are very close editor-author relationships wherever there are editors and authors.
Yes, there are some really tight ones. So
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also have heard that some of those editor-author relationships aren't healthy and
balanced. That can be too. Also in any publishing model. Yeah. And I should also say that every publisher, regardless of the business model, wants the best book possible. Right. The goal is always to.
And I believe
the goal is always to sell books.
Yes.
The goal is always to create a book that a reader is going to want to buy.
Yes.
Agreed.
Because you want fast shows now, I'm trying to keep this moving along.
Listening to what
is there
people
anything
say.
else that you want to talk about?
About
the hybrid model,
the hybrid
or
publishing
anything?
model. The only aspect that I don't think that we have touched on is that in all aspects of publishing, there is a whole back end that readership doesn't see, that authors are generally unaware of until they're in the process and recognize. But there's a whole lot of admin work that goes with publishing that most authors would not want to, or wouldn't necessarily want to take on their own. There are metadata files that have to be submitted if you want to.
I don't even know what that means.
I do.
It's why I have a database. There are Onyx files that have to be submitted to 5 different data aggregators in order to have your book show up, be visible to bookstores so that it can be ordered. And that all has to be created and submitted and all those sorts of things. There are, there's sales tracking, there's shipping books, there's, contacting, doing cold calls to bookstores to see if they want, I've got a new Kunios in Gane, are you interested in taking it? All that sort of thing. So there's an aspect to the marketing and distribution, and that's not just, always, I will tell you, always drive around with a box of books in the trunk of your car, because that's a really good idea.
What? I wish I had taken my bag of books that I carry around everywhere today, because I could have probably sold books, and I was unfortunately without them. So. Yeah, no. Anyways.
Always. But in this day and age, in order to sell books, they have to be visible and have to be available on indigo.ca. They have to be available at McNally Robinson. They have to be available on Amazon. And if they're not, if your readers can't find you, then there's no communication.
Right.
Yeah. And that's I think always the next step right now is like, okay, how do we get to be found by readers?
Yeah, that discoverability is, everybody's asking about that.
And that's one thing I love. I got to give props to traditional publishing and trade publishing, is that they have that system in place, and we're kind of building it as we go.
That 2-year lead time. That's where that comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's where that comes from, but that's also money, right?
Yes.
They've also got an advertising budget that not everybody does.
Yes, absolutely. And I have an impatient reader who wants book 4, so I don't know how she's going to handle it.
Can you imagine if she had to wait 2 years?
By the way, we're just going to give you 2 years to wait on that. Okay, so no Magic Satchel. Let's wrap this up because we're at 30 minutes-ish. So, books of the week. Tight, quick talks.
So I'd like to thank David Gane for sending me a message and saying, don't forget your book of the week, because I've been coming over to the office and I don't have a book. So thanks to Dave, there's always a book in this house that I enjoy. However, I also have to thank him for reminding me to bring one, and I've got this one, Maya Angelou, Even the Stars Look Lonesome, which is a beautiful book of short stories of hers, and I love her, and I'll probably have other books of hers on here. And I first met Maya when I had eye surgery and couldn't use my eyes for 4 days.
Oh, really?
And I got some audiobooks from the public library, and she was reading her books.
Oh, right into your ears.
And I would just, in the darkness, I was in the dark for 4 days, and she would just lull me to sleep. And so I decided to start reading her stuff, and I love it.
Hold
and I
it
read
up
some
nice
of these.
And high so we can...
I don't want to hold it in front of Heather's face.
Yes,
yeah, we'll just do it that way.
Okay. So that's my book. Beautiful book. Beautiful short stories, beautifully told, lots of fun. I read them to my class sometimes.
Awesome.
There we go.
Do you want to do yours?
Sure.
Or do you want me to do mine first?
Whatever you like.
Okay. You do yours.
Okay.
I was going to take it over, and then I was like, why am I doing that?
This is When the Trees Crackle with Cold by Bernice Johnson Laxdal and Miriam Kerner. They are from Larange, or Erange, Saskatchewan, and their book has just been announced that it is a finalist in the Shining Willow Award, which is the Saskatchewan Library Awards, and it is also a finalist for the Saskatchewan Book Awards, which are coming up pretty quick.
Yay!
And it's beautiful.
I'm excited.
Looked through this.
I'm very
Should
proud.
Should we do the disclosure that it is your book?
Yes, it is. It is a YNWP book, but it is written in both English and in Cree.
Oh,
and
wow.
we have actually done ebooks that have audio resources in them, so that teachers can use it in the classroom to teach the seasons in Cree, and not just in one dialect of Cree, but 3 dialects of Cree.
Okay, that's amazing.
The 3 dialects of Cree that are spoken in Saskatchewan.
It's about the seasons?
It is about the seasons, yes. Okay. And there are 6 seasons in the Cree worldview.
Right? Awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I learned something with every book that I work on.
Changed.
Right? I know.
I gotta look at that book when we're done.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Haven't you looked at it?
No.
It came in, I think, when Shepherd's Watch came in. And
the reprint did.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. There's always pallets of books showing up at my house.
And I'm always snooping through her pallets of books. That sounds wrong. I'm so sorry.
It does sound a little
James,
bit
I'm
wrong.
sorry. James.
Wow.
Okay. Last one.
This gets edited in post, right?
Nope.
Not so much.
Nope. I'm a lazy editor. If I don't have to.
That's what the issue is. Oh
yeah.
man.
That's why I run it straight through. Unless, of course, we have an audio problem, and then I have to fix that, and that's it.
Okay. Well, as long as it's only
That's
to do
why
with
you see
audio
the
as
flashes.
opposed to your manuscripts. All right,
No.
then.
Oh, I
Wait a
see
minute.
what you're doing.
Okay, I don't want to
to
interrupt you, but if we're promoting our book launch...
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to cut it out. I'm too lazy.
Our book launch is yesterday.
I'll do a bloop up on the screen about that.
Oh, darn.
Come to the book launch from yesterday and enjoy the donuts that have been eaten.
And more importantly, here's the link to order the book.
Yes.
There we go. Yeah. There we go.
Oh, wow. Bloop.
Rails back on.
Yes.
Go ahead, Dave.
This is
Take it
my
away,
book.
Dave.
Okay. I chose Writing Without Teachers by Peter Elbow. I really like this. He's kind of about free writing and a lot of editing to find what you are talking about. So his is don't have really a plan in place because a lot of people don't know what they're talking about until they actually write it, and then he talks about basically finding the kernel of the idea, building on that, rewriting the whole thing, refining and refining and refining. I really like this, especially as a teacher of writing, because I don't want to have to teach. I don't know what I'm saying. But I really like the idea of just being self-guided, self-motivated to learn how to write and discover what you have in it. I kind of feel it really goes well with The Creative Way by Julia Cameron.
The Artist's Way?
The Artist's Way, yeah. The Creative Way. The Artist's Way. Whatever it is.
I know what you mean. Julia Cameron. You knew her title. Her name I didn't, so...
Yeah. So...
We're there.
You can just watch it in live, going off the rails. So yeah, that's my book of the week. But I recommend it a lot. But it's an interesting read. I wouldn't say hold it as the only book to read, but it's, I think, a really good stepping stone. I really enjoyed it. Okay, where to find us?
www.cunosandgane.com. And you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
Yay.
Comments below. If you have questions, ask them because we want to answer them. And
our viewer of the week is Heather.
Our viewer of the week is Heather.
Because she watches the show.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So, there we go.
Thank you.
She's not watching this show, but, well, she's seeing it live.
Yeah, she's going to be like, I don't want to watch this.
The full 3D experience.
It's immersive.
Awesome. Thank you, folks. Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for showing up, Heather.
Bye, Heather.
Thanks for having me.
Dealing with our shenanigans.
I don't know what it is. Yeah.
And
scene.
Scene.